Do you folks remember this thing? This thing that's buried in metal that doesn't get used, that we did quite a few videos on years ago? This was the first gas forge I ever made. The refractory worked out great, all that good stuff, but I don't care for it. The biggest thing is it burns through fuel so damn fast that for me it's just not economical, doesn't make much sense to run. What about this nice, beautiful coal forge we have sitting here that we've been spending a lot of time in lately? Yeah, I like it. I kind of love it actually, but I think I'm going to take a sledgehammer to it and get it out of here. Just something about it, you know, it's just not fancy enough. All right, I'm full of shit. I'll never take this out of here. I love this thing. A lot of work went into it. Me and my youngest did a lot of the work on this. Well, she didn't do a lot of it, but you guys saw the video. I think she was about 3 when we built it, and she's slathering mortar cuter than hell. But anyway, enough of that. So here's the problem I have with the coal forge. I love the coal forge. I love forging in coal, but where I live, I cannot get a hold of blacksmithing coal anymore unless I buy it by the ton, and then I have to drive hours to go get it. Doesn't make much sense for me. And so after smithing with proper forging coal, good, nice bituminous blacksmith coal, and going back to anthracite because I can't get the bituminous anymore, it's no fun. Anthracite is hard to light, it's hard to keep going. It makes a good hot fire, it's awesome for that, but my problem with it is the biggest issue is it doesn't bridge. You don't get those nice hollows that act like an oven that you get with the bituminous, the soft coal. It just makes a nice cavity in there. You can put your workpiece in. Fairly oxygen-free environment as long as you have it in the fire right so you're not scaling up as bad. I love blacksmithing coal, but it's not feasible if I can't get it up here, and I have a lot to do here in the next month or so. Which brings us to this right here. So I built this stand, if you guys remember, the last coal forge we had, the temporary one, until I could get that one built just to keep us going and get moving. I don't throw anything out. I knew this would come in handy someday for something, and today is that time. I do boiler work for a living, a lot of big boilers. So the nice product of what I do for a living is once in a while I come up with tanks. I come up with a lot of stuff that's very useful in a blacksmith shop or fabricating or anything. Honestly, that's how we got our 12-inch I-beams to make the forge press. Just what I do for a living, you end up getting a hold of that stuff from time to time. Same thing with the power hacksaw, which was an awesome thing to get. So anyway, this is an expansion tank. It's the perfect size to do a ribbon burner forge in. Why do we want to do a ribbon burner forge? What the hell is a ribbon burner forge? It's basically a forced air burner. It's pretty much all it is. You can run it on a lot less gas, that's a big deal for me now. The old propane forge, we couldn't even run a regulator on it. It wouldn't get it hot enough, had to go straight off of tank pressure. And that's no good. You burn through a tank so fast that you just can't afford to keep it filled up. Well, the ribbon burner forge, you're running a lot of times just for forging temperatures if you set everything up right and everything's sized right. From what I'm reading and what I'm seeing, you can run it anywhere from 1 to 5 PSI, plus it gets hot enough to forge weld. And that's going to be important for the stuff that we have coming up. So, without further ado, you guys are going to watch me hack my way through this thing and go by the seat of my pants just like we always do. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy it. I'll catch you on the other side of it. Alright, so these right here are actually plates off of pizza ovens, and they would never hold up to lining a forge. They're just not, they just don't have a rating high enough to take care of that. The only reason I'm putting these in here to give everything a little bit more support is the big deal. I mean, I'm not that, and if I ever want to take this thing apart, easy enough to knock this stuff out of here. So what we have to do now, we've got to get a couple layers, or at least one layer of K-wool on here. I may just do the one layer so I can get a nice heavy refractory pad on this. So unfortunately my refractory won't get here till tomorrow, but that'll have to be in the next installment. Should be good. Alright, so we're going to line the bottom on top of our pizza oven plates. We're going to line it with a 1-inch thick layer of ceramic wool. We call it K-wool in my industry. It's used a lot when you're relining old furnaces, things of that nature. Now this stuff is it's nasty. It's a ceramic wool fiber blanket, very fine particulates. They get airborne very easily. When you're working with this stuff, man, wear a respirator, set of gloves. You're wearing a shirt, especially one like this that's going to catch and hold this stuff. Take it off before you go in the house. You don't want your kids, I don't want my 5-year-old coming up and giving me a hug and then sucking in a bunch of that stuff. That's something in the industry I'm in you have to think about, you have to be conscious about. So you guys know I'm not the biggest safety man in the world, but there's my public service announcement. I will be doing all of that I just said, because I try not to be a hypocrite all the time. So what we're going to do, we're going to get this lined. We're going to use a rigidizer. What that's going to help is it's going to make this stuff pretty solid. And then when I go to pour the refractory on it after this stuff's dried for about 24 hours, we'll have a decently solid base under it. Now the stuff I'm using, I believe this stuff's rated for 2,700 degrees. Most of the time you're going to get it rated at 2,400 degrees. I'm going a little bit hotter because we're trying to design a forge where we can forge weld in. We want to be able to forge weld high carbon steel bits into mild steel or wrought iron or just whatever. So that's all in the consideration. The 2,400 would be just fine for normal forging applications, but obviously I need to go a lot hotter than that. That's one reason we're doing a ribbon burner style forge and a forced air. Like I said earlier, save on fuel, and it gets real damn hot. So anyway, let's get to putting this stuff in. Now you can put this stuff on a number of ways. You can roll it on, you can brush it on. We're going to be spraying it on. That way it's going to go a lot further. It's going to cover a lot more evenly, and I don't worry about crushing down this blanket. Now when you crush this stuff down, you're really removing a lot of its insulative properties. Same thing with fiberglass insulation. If you're stuffing 6/8 insulation into a 2x4 wall, you're losing some of the effectiveness of that insulation. Now we're using a clean bottle. So this stuff, Simwool Rigidizer is what it's called. So I got this on SimonsStore.com. They're out of North Carolina according to the bottle. And this stuff has I'm assuming it's a watered down sodium silicate is what I'm assuming. I could be totally wrong on that, so don't quote me. But that's kind of what it seems like. Now they warn about getting this stuff on your skin. So that's why I'm wearing the gloves. Now they say you can water this down. I'm not sure how that works exactly. So we're just going to go with it straight up. They recommend a 24-hour drying period on this unless you apply heat to it. We're probably going to try to speed this up with a little bit of heat from a heat gun and see what happens. All right, everybody, thank you for watching, and apologize if the audio is a little echoey tonight. My wireless mic kind of died on me. Had to charge it, forgot to charge it last time out. Boy, I better, right below this light, I better put this hat back on before I blind you guys with that white hair. So, we are good progress tonight. We're going to keep going on it, obviously. Now, I know some people don't like multiple part videos, but as you guys know, when I'm into something like this, I try to do multiple parts so we can get decent instruction in. Now, there's some decent videos out there on building these things, but a lot of them are music videos. A lot of them, they really don't take the time to explain. So we're going to do as best as we can. But as I've said in many videos, don't take my word for this. Go do your own research. See what you can see, you know, because I'm certainly not the best at this kind of stuff. There's people that are much better. I just wish that, you know, people would explain some things a little bit more, because sometimes that's kind of lacking in the YouTube world. We kind of mix our styles up. Some videos are for pure entertainment and just to show you guys what we're doing. Some are to actually teach a process, and this one will be more about teaching the process. I'm not going to explain welding or anything like that, because I am far from a professional welder, as most of you know. We can stick metal together and we have a grinder, but we're getting better at it. We're getting to where we can make nice welds and pretty good structural stuff. So anyway, I also had a question from a viewer, Jimmy Mack, on the timber frame for the house, where we're at with that. So we're still moving towards that direction. It's slowed down now that winter's pretty well here. I do not have all the timber cut that I need, obviously, but I've got to save up about 25 grand or so with the price of the materials that are not timbers that I need to do that addition. Now, my thought process was get my timbers cut, get everything sticker stacked and drying in the barn, so when I'm ready to go, it's ready to put up. I do not want to break ground on that thing until I have everything here that I need to do it, so I don't run into what we did with this barn and had this frame sitting open for so long that everything just got weathered. I mean, I like the look. It's like an old barn. You walk in here, it's like an old time shop. I'd like that, but my wife's not going to like that very much in her bedroom. So that's what we're waiting on. So part of the reason we're getting into our tool making finally is out of necessity, and I've been wanting to for so long. I put it on the back burner for so long. It's time to start going after it a little bit. We have the tools. We're gaining the know-how. Time to get after it. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. And I know I just said so a lot. You guys I gotta work on that. Have a good night, everybody. I'll catch you on the next one.